What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. And I know it's very loud. It's NYC traffic. You got cops. You got everything here going on. So, hey, welcome to New York. I want to hurry up before the sun goes away. I'm at golden hour right now. I'm actually right now talking on the brand new SIRUI 60mm IronStar lens and the brand new 45mm also IronStar lens. So right now I have them at T4 just so you guys get a look more or less how they look. It's actually golden hour right now, and I'm gonna use it for the remainder of this video. So I'm gonna be conducting a series of tests. So I'm gonna do a sharpness test, a focus breathing test, a distortion test, and just show you guys how the flares look on these lenses. So let's start actually with the sharpness test, starting with the 60mm. All right, guys, I have the focus sharp pulled up. As you can see, I am using the Blackmagic Pixis for this test. I am using the 60mm IronStar lens. I have it at T1.9, which is the widest this lens can open. Take a look at the center of the image. It looks very sharp, and that's actually really good for a lens that is anamorphic, wide open. That is really cool. But if you notice the edges, it's a little soft, but it's nothing too crazy soft. I think it's pretty usable wide open with this lens. So let's stop this down to T2.8. As you can see, the entire image starting to look sharp. And that's really good. T2.8, you have good enough amount of light getting into the sensor, and you are, not sacrificing sharpness. So that looks really good from what I'm seeing on the screen. So T2.8 looks really good. Let's step this down to T4. Now the entire screen is starting to regroup and look sharp. The edges are still a little soft, nothing like before, but it is regrouping. But look at the center. It is tack sharp, guys. Let's step it down to T5.6. T5.6, the entire screen is super sharp, and that's actually to be expected. The more you close down a lens, it is going to be super sharp. Let's switch lens, which I'm going to test out the 45mm and see how sharp that lens is. Not bad, right? 60mm looks pretty sharp. It's to be expected, honestly, at T1.9 starting. And also, SIRUI did a great job on making sure that these lenses were sharp. So now let's move on to the 45mm and test out the sharpness also as well. All right, so I switched to the 45mm IronStar. I have it wide open at T1.9. And as you can see, it is very sharp in the center and also on the edges, a little sharper than the 60mm, I would say, from what I'm seeing with my focus peaking. So let's step down to T2.8. And as you can see, the entire screen looks sharp. I'm actually looking at my focus peaking on my screen, and it looks very sharp. I really think that this lens is a little sharper than the 60mm. Let's step this down to T4. Again, same results I'm getting. The entire screen is very sharp, and the center actually even more sharp, which is really good. I'm very impressed on how sharp this lens is. So let's move on to 5.6. From what I'm seeing on my screen, it looks very sharp. It looks tack sharp. I have to say, this is the sharpest of all the stops that I used. Honestly, what do you think? I think the 45mm is actually more sharper than the 60, but I could be wrong. I could be blind myself, but I mean, correct me in the comments if you guys see one is more sharper than the other. Let me know in the comment below, because I am very curious to know, right? So now let's check a focus breathing test, because that's very important. But you guys know that anamorphic lenses, thank you, bro. Anamorphic lenses do suffer from focus breathing. It's just the nature of these lenses. So let's check out the 60mm, how it does with focus breathing. I have mounted the 60mm lens. I'm currently focused on the toy figure. Let's focus on the cactus plant right now. It has focus breathing, guys, but nothing too crazy. Let's go back to the toy figure. Honestly, I think it's not that bad. For an anamorphic lens, which they do suffer from focus breathing, I think this lens is very well controlled. Now let's check the focus breathing now on the 45mm. Obviously, it's gonna have less because it's a wider angle. So let's check that out. All right, so I switched to the 45mm. I am currently focused on the toy figure. So let's focus on the cactus plant. Let's try one more time. Not bad, right? That one is actually handles focus breathing a lot better than the 60mm. If you guys notice, when it goes from the toy to the cactus, it actually did a really, really good job. And I'm actually very impressed. For anamorphic lenses, they have very minimal focus breathing, which is a very big plus. A lot of anamorphic lenses do suffer from focus breathing, and it's just the nature of how these lenses were built. And honestly, I think it has to do something with the element factor in the middle, as opposed to, you know, traditional anamorphic lenses have them in the front or in the rear. So I don't know, maybe that's something that SIRUI actually was, you know, thought about 100 times, I guess, and they got it right. Honestly, the focus breathing is very controlled, and I really like it. So let's move on to the bokeh test. I know it's a very subjective. Hopefully this test is gonna do a little justice. I didn't have too much to work with, and I had to drop this video yesterday. So yeah, and I'm talking about today is what, Tuesday, they dropped it Monday. So by the time I drop this video, it'll be like Thursday. So I'm just saying. So let's check out the bokeh and you tell me how it is. Starting with the 60mm. 60mm, I have it at infinity focus, and this is how the bokeh looks on this lens. And you can see the oval bokeh looks really good. I can see a little bit flares on this on the screen. I don't know if you guys can see it. Mind you, these bulbs are very tiny. They're just Christmas trees bulb. But yeah, I mean, you could get an idea more or less on how the bokeh works on this lens. So let's put it on minimum focus and see how the bokeh is going to be handled. All right, so let's get it closer. And yep, just like the 45mm, very similar, less oval, obviously, because, you know, you're on minimum focus, but yeah, you can see a little bit of flares as well, which is a cool thing. But mind you, again, these bulbs are not that strong. All right, so let's check out the bokeh on this lens. This is the 45mm, and this is at minimum focus. And mind you, these are tiny bulbs, so it's not gonna do 100% justice, but you can get more or less an idea how it looks. And I think it looks pretty good at minimum focus. It doesn't look to cat's eye whatsoever. It looks pretty decent. So let's now do infinity focus and let's see how it looks. So let's move on to infinity. And there you go. I kind of honestly like the oval bokeh on this lens, the 45. It looks very good. I'm starting to see hints of flare, but mind you, these bulbs are not that strong. So you guys be the judge if that's something that you are interested. But hey, take that with a grain of salt. In a better environment with brighter bulbs, you're gonna see the pronunciation of bokeh a lot better. So let's check out the distortion, because a lot of people are saying, and SIRUI themselves actually told me that these lenses were gonna have barrel distortion, and they don't have barrel distortion. They have pincushion distortion. They have slight barrel distortion, but it's like very on the edge, which is not enough to call it barrel distortion. I mean, pincushion distortion is nothing bad, but it's just to let you guys know that if you are familiar with other lenses that do have barrel distortion, don't get your hopes high, because this is pincushion distortion. So let's start with the 60mm and see how the distortion is. All right, guys, so let's take a look at the screen for a second. I switched to the 60mm, and you can see clearly that this lens has pincushion distortion. A lot of you guys might not like that, but I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. Honestly, if you look at the edge on the top and bottom, you can see it has a little bit of barrel distortion, but very minimal, but not enough to call it a barrel distortion. So let's move on to the 45mm and see how the pincushion distortion, or distortion in general, will look on the 45. So let's check it out. Okay, guys, so I switched to the 45mm, as you can see, and this lens also has pincushion distortion, and I think the same amount as the 60mm, which is good. You don't want a lens to have more than the other, so it's very controlled. I think SIRUI, the consistency is there, so that's at least a good thing. All right, so you guys can be the judge for yourself. I just want to say again, don't make this a deal breaker if you want to purchase these lenses, because I like pincushion distortion, and I also like barrel distortion. If you guys know, back in the days, those expensive cinema cooked anamorphic lenses, they are all pincushion distortion. All right, so let's move on to the flares. I know this is very subjective. Again, take this with a grain of salt. I went with my daughter and I tried to put the sun, well,
place her with the sun behind her. That way you can get that look when it comes to the flares while she is being backlit. That's one of the ways to actually test if an anamorphic lens can flare really good, if it's something that is desirable. And as you guys notice in these images, the flares are not that pronounced. I mean, you can see them, but they are not pronounced. Maybe because I opted for the neutral flares and not the blue flares, but this is me. I don't like the blue flares. I like neutral. I like to use any light source and give me the color that I desire. These lenses are not perfect. So, you know, I have to be honest. I'm not gonna bash SIRUI. SIRUI's been good to me on the channel. So, but I have to be realistic. There's nothing perfect. So I'm gonna tell you the things that I do like about the lenses. I like the fact that the bokeh looks pretty good. I like the fall off on the lens. I think it looks, the image quality is just amazing. The sharpness, it's beautiful. The fact that you have T19 if you need that for a low light environment, they got you covered. And also the minimum focus distance on these lenses been improved as opposed from their previous Saturns. Those things were like 3.5 feet, you know, the minimum focus distance. I believe the 60mm is 0.76 meters and the 45 and the 35 are 0.65. So I could be wrong, but I know it's very close. They won't be macro style, but they're actually very close. And I really like these lenses. I'm not gonna say no. I prefer them over the Saturn 100%. This is my review / overview on the SIRUI IronStar 60mm and the 45mm T1.9. If you guys want to purchase any of these lenses, I will leave an affiliate link in the description so you guys could check it out. And actually, if you get it now, you're gonna get an early bird price at $999 US. And I think with my coupon RIC5, you can save 5% on top of that. So I suggest if you want to get it and save some money while you at it, this is the time. I think it will be only on this price for a week or two, maybe 2 weeks from the time posting this video. So yeah, guys, this is my review of the IronStar lenses. If you guys have any questions, leave the comments below. I'm very curious to know what you guys think about how these lenses look. So this is gonna be it for me. I hope you guys found this video useful, informative, and if you did, go out there, create. I'm gonna catch you guys in our next video. Peace. Stay anamorphic.